With Election Day finally here, 2 reporters from the Panther scoped out the on-campus vote center at Chapman University on the afternoon of November 3rd. The polling place was a collaborative effort between Chapman's Civic Engagement Initiatives team and the Orange County Registrar of Voters. In comparison to the packed Election Day turnout at polling centers across the nation for the 2020 primaries, the campus was more or less a ghost town, with only a few individuals being allowed in the vote center at a time. We decided to ask a few voters about the policies that were of primary concern to them in casting their ballots and their reasoning behind voting at the polls as opposed to by mail.
I think there's a lot of issues. Obviously, there's a lot of social issues happening right now in the U.S., which, people should keep in mind also. But I think I would say the biggest thing is probably with COVID. COVID is still happening, which COVID is only getting worse and worse. So, I think that's an issue in which, everyone should keep in mind.
I was kind of just going with whatever the parties Democratic Party was okay with, I was okay with. I didn't have too much of a problem with. That's kind of just what I went for.
Naturally, probably the thing that I'm the most concerned about is something that I don't feel like either one have addressed very well, and that's when you walk around the neighborhood I live in and the situation with the homeless and the drug addiction out here. I don't feel safe walking in my community, so that's an issue for me. And I also don't feel safe with everybody having to board up businesses and such on the eve of an election. To me, that's something fundamentally wrong right now with all of us not being able to somehow meet in the middle and get along. You cannot deny there's been some acts that are completely inappropriate and unacceptable from the police, but do we need to not have police protection? We need that. I think we need reform at that level.
I mean, so many people I know are saying that this is the first time they've ever voted. Some of them are like in their 30s even, saying this is the first time they voted. So I think that's awesome. Hopefully whoever wins, everyone can just keep the peace. But I think it is good, all these issues coming up, because it's making people pay more attention.
You have to keep in mind, Chapman is a really, expensive school, and so it's it's very different than I would say a lot of schools nationwide. But I thought Chapman has done a good job in which encouraging students to go out and vote. I don't know the numbers, but I could say I think this is probably one of the first elections in a very long time that young people are going out and voting, where in years past they haven't. So I think Chapman's done a really good job in encouraging people to go out and express, your opinion, your voice, because at the end of the day, it's your right, it's your civic duty that you have to do. So
I think just because I grew up in Orange, I actually live in Anaheim, but I grew up in Orange, like born and raised in Orange, so I just, for some reason, just felt more comfortable voting here. So I did just drive all the way down to Orange to vote here. Plus I just work here, so.
My signature is separated from my ballot, and it's on an envelope that you want me to put in the mail with my live signature. I know electronic signature is big, but that's still my personal signature on a document you want me to go through how many people's hands. That's how I saw that. That's the safety of my signature and also the security of my vote. It's not on you could have printed it on the ballot. Yeah. That's what I would have done.
I think that voting by mail is perfectly safe, and I'm very comfortable doing it. But I do like going in and physically dropping it off versus just dropping it in the mail. But I think any way you vote is good and going to be counted.